is me hitting
Were you
record.
checking with your eyes? Was that you looking at me like...
Yeah, like, are we
Awesome.
good to go?
What's up, everybody? Jared James here. Welcome to this episode of Today with Jared James. Once again, joined by my trusty colleague, Mr. Tom Dedimo.
Yeah.
How do you actually say it?
Dedimo.
Dedimo. I knew that. I'm in a zone right now, guys. I have a lot on my head. But podcast goes on. We still got to do the podcast. So
Sure do.
So much to talk about, though. My God. Today we're going to do actually a deep dive into things like social media and such, because I think it's so important. It's so relevant for so many, because I see people doing it, so poorly right now. We just released, actually, for the first time ever, I am doing a 2-day social mastermind in Vegas, August 17th and 18th. I've never done it before. I don't know if I'll ever do it again, but this is your opportunity to be a part of that. And, I said this on my stories the other day, and I said, you got to understand it's $49.97, and you got to think, like, what would that be worth to you? Is it worth 20 transactions, 30 transactions, 2 transactions? It's worth it all the way around. It's the old saying that your net worth is your network. And this is an opportunity to get in a suite in Vegas with myself and a very select number of other people who have also invested in themselves and really master this social game. From someone who's not just going to teach you how to do it, but is actually doing it every single day. And I'm going to show you guys the secret sauce behind the scenes of what actually makes your social blow up, and how do you take it from ego to e-com and start monetizing it and be an option in your area. And so we'll talk a little bit about social today. I'm going to teach on social, which I think is going to be super helpful to so many of you. There's so many things that have happened. I can't remember if we did a podcast last week or the week before. I think it was last week, but I'm not 100% on that. But so much has happened. We usually try to start with something a little fun, and this is not fun, but it's definitely pop culture. Did you see, Tom, hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great.
All right. Did you see the Justin Timberlake got in trouble for DWI?
Yep. Yeah, I saw the picture, and I also saw that he said that he only had one martini.
Yeah, that's bullcrap.
And I think that, but there might be some truth to that. He might have had one martini.
He did have one.
With a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say. No, he had one martini, and then he had 2, and then he had 3, then he had 4, then he had 5.
Right.
The truth is, who knows, What did you think when you saw that? Did you see it? So I posted about it yesterday.
Yeah.
Did you see that post?
I didn't see that post.
Did or didn't?
I did not.
Okay, so you knew about this already.
Yes.
Okay, so what were your thoughts when you saw that?
It's a celebrity. It's probably bound to happen at some point, I feel like, right? That's just kind of how I...
I mean, it's you never want to make light of it because it's terrible. Like,
It is.
you should never be driving while intoxicated. Luckily nothing happened, and that's why we get to talk about it in this vein right now. Mm-hmm. And nobody got hurt, and nobody, but I know people who have had people killed in drunk driving accidents and whatever, and there's nothing funny about it. Like, There's nothing, it's not cool. It's not anything, I do feel like whenever something happens with a well-liked celebrity, which Justin Timberlake is definitely a well-liked celebrity,
He is.
that, man, do people like to throw stones and act like, like they've just never done anything. Right. They've never gotten in after a couple drinks and driven a car. That none of the people listening right now have done that. That they just, it's just, I'm always reminded of that story in the Bible when they're stoning the girl, and Jesus steps in, and he creates the line in the sand with a stick. And he basically, the Bible doesn't tell you what he says to them, but then he does say at some point, he goes, you without sin, cast the first stone. In other words, you're sitting here stoning her, and yet I know everything every one of you has done. You could easily be the one on this side. Yeah. And I always think about that, because it doesn't matter what, religion, non-religion, whatever you are, the principle is true. For some reason, there's something in us that makes us feel better. It's like Bully 101. While we get on people about things that just as easily could have been us. It's the fervor, how quickly I saw so many people online that couldn't wait to jump in and try to cancel him because he made a mistake. And it was a mistake, don't get me wrong. But there was the thing I posted about on my reels was basically there's this big call for he should be canceling his tour, or he should postpone his tour because he's on a major world tour right now. And there's always these gut reactions, right? And we say things like, if you poll the majority of people, 99% are against cancel culture until It's like they don't even realize what cancel culture is.
Yeah.
You know, but then they jump in like the mob, and like that's how it started to begin with. And my real question is, he made a dumb mistake where he is clearly intoxicated. When he becomes not intoxicated, he's going to realize what a dumb mistake he made, and is probably going to feel terrible and is going to have complete remorse and complete whatever. So if he cancels his tour and waits 3 months, you think he's a different person in 3 months? Is that what we think? Do we really think he's a different person in 3 months? Oh, paid the price. You know, he did. I just think sometimes the way we think about things is just, there's no eloquent way to say it other than stupid.
Yeah.
Like it's you know, that's not letting him off the hook. That's not, he made a dumb mistake and he's got, you say he's got to pay the price. Oh, he's paying the price. That's on his record now forever. Yeah. You know, I said on this reel yesterday, I said, you know, when you look at our lives, when you look at success overall, success and failure are inevitable. In all of our lives, success and failure are absolutely inevitable. But you're not defined by success. You're defined by failure. Or how you react when failure hits. Think about it. Think of it like this, right? Like you could have, if you were in a relationship, like you're in a relationship, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you guys are married for 55 years. Mm-hmm. Let's say on year 56, you cheat on your wife. Do you know what you just became forever?
Yeah.
You did 55 years of doing, if you make the mistake, you're now a cheater.
Correct.
Right? And so when I say to you, success and failure are inevitable, but you are defined not by your successes. You are defined by your failures, but more importantly for yourself, you're defined by how you react to those failures. That's what I mean. Like, Justin Timberlake has gotten in the car hundreds of thousands of times, tens of thousands. I don't know what it is. And by the way, let's not even go into how dumb it is. You're a celebrity. You got all this money. You don't just have someone drive you.
Yeah. Seriously.
That would have been the move.
Yep.
You know? But he will not be defined by the 15,000 times he drove his car completely fine. He will now be defined by, you know? And so when we think about that, you know, me personally, I'm like, continue your tour. That was dumb. That was whatever. But I also don't think that defines you. I think you made a mistake. Mm-hmm. And I just think as a society, we have to get to the point where it's like, can we allow people to make mistakes and stop acting like we're all so perfect? You know, and especially because when you start talking about the public eye, these people do things. First off, you don't ever get the full truth. But they do things, and it's like it's you only know about because you know about it, like because they're famous, you know. And then you hear about things that aren't even true, and you think you know. And so I just feel like as a society, we're going to get into social media. We're going to get into some stuff going on with the DOJ right now. We're going to get into some new polls that are out within our industry. But as a society, like, can we just have a little more grace for people? You know, I've always said that the things that we get mad. I was actually just saying this to Linda. Coming in, I was on the phone with her, and I just said, she was talking about something and someone and the situation she was in, and I said, you know, whenever you see people so fervorish about a certain area, usually it's a mirror into themselves. You know? Like when someone reads into something that you said, but like that's not what you meant at all, but that's how they take it, and they can, what they're doing is they're showing you what they would mean if they said that. Yeah. They're casting a mirror back on themselves and going, that's what I would mean. That's the meaning I have. So whenever you see someone just so feverishly, you know, ready to take someone down or ready to have no grace for people or ready to have, you know, whatever, it's usually a mirror back on themselves. Like they realize how much they do. They realize how much they get away with. They realize, you know, and, you know, I'm only one person, but like anybody listening to me right now, like I just feel like we need to get back to, you know, grace. Like, extending the same grace you would want if you were in that situation. Not excusing behavior. Not saying anything, not any of that. But it's just shocking to me how built up angry people are that they can't wait to pounce on someone. It's like adult bullying. You know? It's like, well, that's what they sign up for. You know, they're a celebrity. And it's just, you know, there's some of that that's true, and then there's some of that you're just projecting, you know, your own insecurities or your own anger or your own, you know, any of those things. Like, I think we need to remember that people are people, you know, and they've got kids and they've got families and they've got, you know, he's going to have to answer to his kids of why he did that. Like, that's going to be worse than anything anybody in the public could do. You know, but it doesn't take away from the fact. I don't know if he's a great guy, not a great guy. Now, I don't know. He seems like a great guy. He seems like a fun-loving, you know, fun to be around guy. Now, look, there's a lot of celebrities appear like that, and some really are, and some aren't. Like Adam Sandler seems like an awesome guy.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Right? Like, wouldn't you be shocked if you found out Adam Sandler was like actually just a stone cold jerk?
A little bit.
That would be shocking.
It would.
And then there's other ones where you're like, nah, they
Yeah, that makes sense.
probably a jerk.
Yeah. On
like
brand. Yep.
Timberlake seems like he's a fun-loving, whatever kind of guy. Like, he's just like, and maybe it's for me, like, I've always kind of seen a little bit of myself in him. Meaning, like, when I see his personality, I see him having fun, I see him I'm like, oh, I'm kind of like that. I'm kind of, that's tough to fake when you have that many eyeballs on you after a while. Like, after a while, it starts to come out. And so none of that, he didn't become a bad guy. He made a bad choice. What's that old line? That's why we're called human beings and not human doings. Because we're not always defined by everything we do. Sometimes we do things that are outside of character. But that's not the essence of who we are. That's not who we be. Human beings.
True.
True. It's the reason why we're not called human doings. Because you could just pick and choose little doings that any one of us do. And now you're that. Tom, you ever had a bad day?
Yeah, sometimes.
You ever, I heard from someone, oh my God. I got a message from someone recently, and they said that when I was at an event. So first off, at events, I am like, guys, I can't tell you how much I go out of my way to literally like try to say hi to everybody. Like, I do pictures with everybody. It's almost like autographs are back. Lately, I've had a lot of people like want me to sign their things, and I'm like, all right, cool, like whatever. I guess that's back. But I go out of my way to try to do it's almost like the people around me are like, you can't keep doing that. Like, it's just taking too much time. It's doing, whatever. But that's my mentality. It's like, no, whatever we got to do. I was just on a call with an event, and they were like, so you're going to come in and do the event. You're going to leave right after. There's some people going to want to say hi. Any chance you stick around for 15 minutes? And like, if I don't have a flight, I'm like, I'll stick around as long as everybody wants to say hello. Like, that's awesome. Like, that's what they're there for. That's, whatever. So I get this message from this person, and I'm not going to name who they are or whatever. But basically, they heard from one of their friends who attended something I was at that I was a jerk. That, like, I walked right past them. They said my name. I walked right past them. I ignored them, and I did, whatever. And, he just thinks his whatever doesn't. And, he's too big to say hello to me and, blah, whatever. If you're out there, I do not remember hearing anything. Like, you can ask 10,000 people. Like, I stopped 9,999 times. Like, I did not see you. I didn't hear you. I didn't, can we give people a little grace?
It's also bold of them to say that you're so rude after it. Like, I'm assuming they probably only said it like once, your name.
Probably.
Like, yeah. Like,
by the way, I was probably rushing to get to an Uber, I was probably head down moving because otherwise you get stuck everywhere you go. But I wouldn't hear my name and ignore someone.
Right. I think it's bonkers that the thought didn't even process that, like, oh, just didn't hear.
No self-awareness.
That's crazy.
But that's what I mean, though. Grace.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot, he didn't hear me. Or send me a message after and be like, hey, I tried to say hi to you. You didn't hear me,
Must
whatever.
not have heard me. Yeah.
Yeah,
Something.
exactly. Like, give me, like, and again, I'm just saying, it kind of fits that whole narrative of what I'm saying is, like, can we just have some grace for some people?
Right.
You're human beings, not human doings. You take that one experience and they'd be like, oh, he's a diva, he's a jerk, he's a whatever. And it's like, that's not in my DNA. Like, I'm not anything like that, And so you just extend that out to a different level. Now you're talking Justin Timberlake, where it's like, 70-something million followers on Instagram alone, and then all these other, and hit after hit, and filling stadiums, and doing whatever, like, not to mention, what the stress must be like in that life?
No.
He's on tour right now. They're saying that they're having disappointing sales on the tickets, which I don't know if it's true or not true, but people just love to say that. But can we just have some empathy here? Again, not excusing what he did. He could have hurt someone fatally. Yeah. None of that. Yeah. Like, duh. I feel like I shouldn't even have to say that. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying that how we get to the point of grace is really EQ. It's empathy. It's, being able to put yourself in the place of somebody else. Do you know how stressful that world is? Like, I go to an event, me, not Justin Timberlake, although Dan does have me in his phone as Justin Timberpuddle.
That's true.
And if I go to an event, it's overwhelming. Like, at certain events, you can't move, you can't anything. It's okay, next. It's like a wedding every day, taking pictures. Happy to do it. Like, it's awesome. It's what a lady came up to me at one recently, and she goes, "This must drive you crazy. This much." I said, "This is what you This is what you worked for 10 years ago. Like, this is first world problems. You got to hold a smile. Now take that. That's me. Take that to his level of visibility and fame and whatever. That has got to be just, man.
I think I'd be afraid to do literally anything.
Tom, every day. I go to events, little old me,
Yeah.
and I'm uncomfortable when I'm walking around because I see people looking at me, and then you'll be like, is that, da-da-da. Hey, can you do, and they're watching you. And then you have people who try not to act like they're not watching you, but they're watching you, and you can feel it, whatever. That's me.
Yeah.
You think Justin Timberlake goes to ShopRite? Do you think every time he leaves a corner of loneliness and he steps out into, it's just laser beam, you know? And it's all an audition for, are you a good guy, bad guy? How'd you interact? What is your, and so I'm just saying, guys, like, thank God nobody got hurt. Thank God. Now that we're past that, let's move to the next level and look at the actual subject, look at the actual person, and understand that when I say, like, we need to really start coming from a place of grace with people, it doesn't mean we make excuses for them. It doesn't mean, but like, you can't really define someone without defining their experience, their past, their, you know, whatever it is. And his experience, his past, since the age of whatever, he has never had privacy. He has never not had everyone watching him. So I think he had a couple drinks, was in a situation where he was comfortable and was like, oh my God, I'm having fun. Oh my God, like, hey, this is great. This is, you know, whatever. And he probably just went too far, you know? And you don't have to make an excuse to understand. Those are two different things. You know, it's like I've said all the time, like, two things can be true. It's not making excuses for him. It's saying, I understand. You know, Chris Rock had that routine, you know? I'm not saying it's right, but I understand. You know, like, there's a lot of truth in that. So anyway, you know, best to him. Thank God nobody got hurt, because honestly, he dodged a bullet. Like, because that would have been career ending.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, that is, you know, you got Alec Baldwin, who used a prop gun on a set, and he's up on murder charges. Mm-hmm. Yeah, which has nothing to do with him, you know? Like, you go and get in a car, drive drunk, and hurt someone. Forget if he even didn't kill someone. He hurt someone because he was driving drunk. The intent would have been exactly the same. Like, he was just going somewhere drunk, only the result would have been way different. He should thank his freaking lucky stars. Yeah. Now, having said that, now that the dust is settled, nobody got hurt, nobody got whatever, this is how you come to a place of grace, is that you come from a place of understanding. And you're like, that's a lot of pressure. That's, you know, don't do it again. You done screwed up. But I understand. I understand on some level. So anyway, so that happened. Another thing happened this past week. Tom, you probably didn't hear about this, but, you know, all this talk we've been doing about the DOJ and everything, Department of Justice. So I talked about this on a previous episode of the podcast, but the DOJ and NAR, National Association of Realtors, had come to a deal previously before this whole NAR settlement stuff. But the DOJ and NAR had come to a deal. And then this past year, the DOJ reopened the case. They went back on their deal.
Love that.
And NAR was like, what? Like, what are you talking about? In what world can we make a deal with our government and then you break the deal? Like, that's not how it's supposed to be.
This one.
So they appealed the fact that the DOJ reneged on their agreement, and it ruled against their favor. Do you know who ruled against their favor about the DOJ's right to pull back on their agreement? The DOJ. The DOJ ruled in their own case. What world are we living in right now? Like, I don't even know how in America, where we get due process, how is that even legal? Like, how do you have somebody fighting you, saying you don't have the right to do that, and you decide, hey, yeah, we do. Yeah. And you know what they pointed to? You know what they pointed to justify it? The original case. 3 judges voted 2-1 in our favor. That's the point of an appeal.
Yep.
We don't agree with those judges. Like, so you're pointing to the people, and we're going, yeah, that's not right. We think there should be a and they're going, no, it's already done. That's what an appeal is. Like, it's almost better that people aren't paying more attention to this, because it is bonkers. Like, it's bonkers. And that happens in America. Mm-hmm. And everybody just goes, all right, yeah, cool. I guess that's what we do now. Like, whatever. And forget about, like, that. It's just, that can't start being the thing. I mean, can you imagine if, like, you came to me for something and, you know, whatever it was, and I said no or whatever. You're like, I want 3 more weeks vacation. And we had, like, a board of directors or something, right? And I was like, no. And then you're like, well, I'd like to fight that. I'd like to talk to the board. And then I came back and went, I'm the head of the board. No. You know, whatever. Would you feel like that was a fair...
You know, believe it or not, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like something that I would enjoy.
Yeah, so this stuff just keeps happening, and it's crazy, the gall. Like, I'm trying to find a nice way to say this, but, like, the balls on these people. Like, they just, out in pure daylight, go, no, we're going to rule back in our favor. That seems fair. Not we're going to put it out to an unbiased, you know, due process, the whole thing. No. We're the DOJ. I've said it before, too, even that name, Department of Justice. We have Batman on your team?
Apparently.
Iron Man helps you out every once in a while. What is this, Justice League? What are we talking about? Department of Justice.
Yeah.
And when justice isn't served and someone appeals, justice steps in.
That's correct.
And confirms the original ruling in their own favor.
It was justice, you know?
Yeah, Department of Justice. Holy crap. God, I don't even want to talk about it anymore. Other stuff came out this week that was so interesting. There was a bunch of studies done, a bunch of polls and results, and because of all these changes happening in real estate, and one of the results came in, it was really interesting. They went and surveyed these people who have gone through real estate transactions, and 70% of the respondents said they had never negotiated in a real estate transaction. 17% said they had, and 13% said they had, and they'd had the commission reduced. And then 17%, you're like, no, you know, they weren't sure what they were doing. Here's my point, though. If you've ever been in a real estate transaction, you were a part of negotiation. There's no 70% no, we didn't. You may not have gotten your commission reduced. You may not have got... That doesn't mean you weren't in a negotiation. Like, that means that you lost that negotiation. Which, by the way, when you're hiring someone to professionally negotiate on your behalf for the largest asset you're ever going to own, you should thank your lucky stars that you lost, and you should hire that person, not the 17% who you negotiated with and won. Because when it comes time to sell the largest asset you're ever going to own, do you want the person who couldn't even protect or communicate to you their own value to then represent and sell and negotiate on your largest asset you're ever going to own? Or do you want the one that threw up the white flag and said, I give less commission, hire me? That's who you want to sell your home? Like, this stuff is just all so backwards to me right now. Yeah. We're losing sight of, like, what a pro does. We're losing sight of why we allow these people, why we hire these people to do the job for something that we don't do on a regular basis. You know, we're losing sight of the fact that it's not a good thing to step in the ring with someone that you don't have, or you're not supposed to have the same expertise, win that negotiation, and then go, now I'm going to hand it off to you. Negotiate for my property. You know, it's like, you remember Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Where, like, they would, like, fight to the death, or, like, I remember one time the little guy, he had to have someone fight for him for his life. It'd be like if he fought a bunch of people and they all beat him up. But one guy he handled. Guy just wasn't a good fighter. Right. He was terrible. And when he's done beating that guy up, he goes, now go fight for my life. You are the one that I think should defend my life. It's like, that's so backwards. That doesn't make sense. And yet that's where we are. Hey guys, this podcast is brought to you by Jared James Enterprises, right? Coaching and training, guys. If you're watching this and you need coaching, you need training, you're in the real estate space. If you're a brokerage and you need overall training for your overall company, you're looking to hire someone, any of those types of things, we do it all. Make sure you just check out jaredjamestoday.com. Timberlake.com. Really try to stay on the cutting edge of everything that's going on in the industry. So coaching, training, you need accountability, guys. We know that 23% of people, 9% of people are going to reach their goals this year. 23% are going to stop within a week. 43% are going to stop within a month. You need to not only know your why, you need to understand how you're going to get there, and you need accountability to get there. So coaching and training, jaredjamestoday.com. This is also brought to you by Cleared and Closed. Okay, check out clearedandclosed.com. Clearedandclosed.com. We offer transaction management. No matter where you are in the world, we will create a custom list of different things that we'll do for you depending on what kind of a state, what kind of a province, what kind of a place you're in, a custom workflow for you. You'll have your very own transaction coordinator who is absolutely amazing. I'm telling you that you will love them. We're offering to you your first transaction for free. So if you're watching this, you're in real estate, you need to create leverage. You need to build that infrastructure that other people want to tell other people about. So we'll give you your first transaction free. Just mention this podcast. Get on that, do a consult, go to clearedandclosed.com. And last but not least, this podcast is brought to you by First Up with a Y, FYRSTUP.com. I'm not going to ask to hear that in a sentence or with a verb, but firstup.com, FYRSTUP.com. If you're watching this and you're a broker or you're an agent and you have a broker, especially right now, low inventory, all the things that are happening, people becoming more mobile, you need to have this at your in your tool belt. Everything right now about buyer agency and everything else going on. One of the number one ways that you can get someone to sign with you, sign a buyer agency agreement, is to provide more value. And what's better than to be able to say that you have a proprietary list of listings that nobody else has access to, which is what you have with First Up. You know, what First Up does is it really digitizes that traditional whiteboard, you know, where all of those listings from the time where you sign them with the seller to the time that they hit the MLS, that time in between, you're allowed to promote those within the brokerage. And so what if you had a tool within your brokerage where every time those listings were added in that in-between time, it not only notified every agent in your office, but also buyer matched. And it let them know when they have a buyer who matches, and the listing agent lets them know there's a buyer with another one of the agents in your office that has somebody who matches that, and now you're able to cross-promote or and talk to each other and potentially sell that property earlier in a completely compliant manner, okay? So you're talking about, you know, better communication, you're talking about double-ended deals, you're talking about a lot of things that are going to bring more ROI, return on investment, for such a small investment that First Up is. If you don't have it, somebody else in your area is going to get it. So FYRSTUP, firstup.com. Get on a consult, get that before your area is sold out. Now back to the show. Yep. It's an interesting time we live in right now. Okay?
Sure is.
The other thing I want to talk about today, such a big topic right now, and I'm so on this right now, is social media. You know, I've been doing such a deep dive on this lately, and for any of you that have been watching, you know, I've kind of gone all in on it. You know, the last 6 months, 12 months, drastically grown my platforms. In the last 6 months, I've gotten somewhere between 10 and 20 million views on our videos. I just put another one up 3 days ago that's crossing 1 million right now. And it's like on the regular now. Now, that's not luck. I'm like a suave duck. Up above the water, looks all whatever. Underneath, there's a lot going on with those feet making me go where I'm going to go. And there's a lot of secret sauce that happens behind the scenes. There's a lot of understanding the algorithm. There's a lot of like it's not an accident why I'm winning in that arena. And so, you know, social media, when you look at it, it's modern day marketing. It's all it is. We still call it social. We should really just call it marketing. It's modern day marketing. It's the most effective, most cost effective, most, marketing there is. And yet when you look at people who run businesses, 99.9% of them, and I'm being so nice right now, have no idea how to leverage it, have no idea how to use it. They think just being on the platform and occasionally posting something somehow makes them a winner in that area, and it's not. And, you know, if you're in business for yourself, you can't afford to not be great at that area, to not be great at marketing, to not be great. You know, I say all the time, visibility, visibility, visibility. You cannot afford to not be great at that area. And that's why I'm going to teach a little bit on social today. We're going to do a little bit of that. So get your guys thinking hats on. But it's why, like I said, I announced that for the first time ever, I'm doing a social media mastermind, like a literal 2-day intensive. Las Vegas, August 17th and 18th. We've got a suite at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. and the number of people that'll fit in that suite, and we are just going to get down to it. Like, we are going to do more than just make sure on this platform, make sure on that platform. We're going to have our phones out. We are going to kind of take it to that next level of what does create content, what wins, what kind of hooks win, what kind of editing works, how do you do that editing, how do you post on the different platforms, how do you gain followers? Like not like, again, 99% of the platforms you see where they're just buying their followers. How do you actually gain them? How do you work the algorithm to gain followers? How do you monetize those followers? I've been saying that, I want to help you take your social from ego to e-com, from just all about you and like being cool, whatever, to e-commerce, like making money on it. Because we're in a world of visibility right now. If you're in real estate, for example, you need people to raise their hands and think of you first when it comes to selling their house, buying their house. By the time you hear about it, it's too late. And so how do you do that? How do you create that ultimate visibility where you're on people's phones every day? You're on their computer every day. They think about you. A survey was done, and they found that the average person in their local area can think of up to 3 people from each industry, and that's it. So they can think of up to 3 doctors, and they have all these different things. The question I would say to you, especially if you're in real estate, is there more than 3 realtors in your area? Because if so, you're probably not one of them, okay? And that's the visibility play. Visibility trumps ability. Visibility is your responsibility. And the easiest way to do that today, and it's not even close, is social, if it's done correctly. And so what does your business look like if you were the one in your area who got amazing at social? I say at events all the time, I say, if I came into your area, I would dominate you. I say that to the audience, and people are like, what? And that's not because I'm so much better than you or I understand contracts more. It's because I know how to get in front of people. I would get more no's than you, but I would also get more yeses than you. I would be in front of everyone because I know how to do it. That phone is an amazing thing when you start talking about content and videos, and it's easier than ever today when you start looking at how you actually create content and what it looks like and doing green screens and all that kind of stuff. And so we're going to show people step by step, what it looks like. How do you master that area? How do you master modern day marketing to give you the ultimate edge in your marketplace? And what's that worth? 30 transactions, 40 transactions, 2 transactions? That's a heck of an ROI either way. If I were to ask everyone listening right now, do you know that you are leaving contacts, you're leaving contracts, you're leaving relationships, you're leaving these things on the table because of, your lack of understanding in this social media game? Knowing where to go, what to do, you're leaving a ton of business on the table, but you just don't know what to do. And so I came to a point, although I've been asked many times over the years to do something like this, where I said, now's the time. I'm going to do this. I'm going to bring some people in there, and we're going to turn them into Jedis as far as this is concerned. And we're going to give them the ultimate tool they need to dominate in their area. And we're going to do it for $49.97, which under $5,000. That's less than a transaction for almost everybody listening right now. And in a way that it's not a ballroom. This is in a suite with me. This is roll up our sleeves and let's do it. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity to do that. Your network is your net worth. The people that are in that room, getting to know me, that's going to benefit your business for a long, long time, okay? So we're going to teach a little bit on social today, but if that's you, go to jaredjamestoday.com/social mastermind. You can also always send me a question, a DM, on Instagram or wherever you guys want to, and if you have questions, but jaredjamestoday.com/social mastermind. Come meet me in Vegas, guys. Let's get this done. Let's master this, because in the new market we're heading into, in this new era of real estate, I've said it over and over again, there's going to be less agents, but there's going to be more agents making more money. And what's really going to determine whether that's you or someone else is going to be that visibility thing. Do you have the ability to be visible? And the truth is, you have the ability, you just don't know how. And so we're going to break that down. We're going to break down that secret sauce, so to say. I was on a stage the other day, and I was talking a little social, and it amazes me how many people don't realize that social media is brand building. It is you need a brand, but it amazes me how many people build the wrong brand. So if you were to pull up, the majority of salespeople, entrepreneurs, let's just say realtors, right? And I always tell them, I say, okay, go pull up my Instagram. Go to @JaredJamesToday. Pull up my Instagram. What do you see? And they're like trying to figure out what to say. And I'm like, you see a whole lot of me? And they're like, yeah, whole lot of me. Awesome. Go pull up your own Instagram. Go pull up your own Facebook. Go pull up your own. What do you see? You know, most of them you see? Bunch of houses.
Yep.
Houses, 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 houses. So it's like, oh, I'm on the platforms, but I'm still not gonna show me. I don't like how I look. I don't like how I sound. So this is my way of checking the box. But here's the problem with that. When you do that, you are building the brand of housing. Does housing need any more branding? Is it hurting for people knowing what housing is? But you know what does need branding? You. And so when you build the brand of housing, you're out of luck. Because the moment you stop focusing on yourself, nobody's thinking of you anymore. They're thinking of the housing. They're thinking of, whatever that is. But branding is about self over product. Okay, so hear me out on this. You're building the brand of you. If you're in business today, you're in business for yourself, by yourself. Like the brand is you, okay? And it's about self over product. And when you promote your brand, you can sell any product because you're the brand. That's how you get endorsement deals. That's how these celebrities do these different. They sell gin and they sell whatever because ultimately they're the brand. But when you promote any industry or product above yourself, guess who's left out to dry? You are, because you weren't a brand. And so you've got to go look at your profile and say, what do I see here over and over again? What is the brand that I'm giving off? What is it that I'm promoting? Am I promoting housing or am I promoting the brand of me? Because if you promote the brand of you, you will sell housing. But if you promote the brand of housing, you are left out to dry, okay? And so we have to think like that first and foremost, okay? We have to stop posting from third-party portals. You shouldn't be posting to all different social media channels through things like Hootsuite. Because the algorithm on each one of those individual platforms sees that it's coming from a third party, and it takes that algorithm and goes, nah, not for me. You know, for me personally, what I do is I create, for example, a video. I create it on Instagram, and then I edit it. You know, I add a title, have it go the first 4 to 5 seconds, 6 seconds, whatever. I add the captions. I do all that stuff, but it's not branded to Instagram. And then before I move forward, it's one of the few platforms I can hit the little downward arrow and download it. And now I've got a copy of that edited video with no branding to a particular platform. So now I can upload that on Instagram, but now I can also take it and I can organically upload it on all the other platforms. Now that takes a little bit longer, 5-10 minutes to do all of them. What else are you doing with your time that's more powerful than that? What else are you doing with your time that's going to get hundreds of people, if not thousands of people, to be aware of you that day? Bring you to their attention. But when I do it organically on each platform, my reach remains strong. Where if I did it from one place, which is the easy way, it's the shortcut, the reach would be nowhere near as big. And so the shortcut is not necessarily the cut you want to make, okay? It's about uploading to each platform individually. On that same note, if you're listening to this right now, if you look at your profile and you have a private profile, please stop it. Guys, having your Instagram or whatever profile on whatever platform you're at with a private page, a private profile, is like inviting a bunch of people over for a picnic, and when they get there, you shut out the lights and hide under the table. It's like, hey, we want you to come hang out. We want you to be aware. We want you to whatever. Oh, God, they're here. And you get under the table.
That sounds like me.
But dude, if you're going to invite people over, don't you think you should turn the lights on, open the doors, and say, come on in?
You would think.
Why in the world would you be on social as somebody who's running a business and then set your profile to private? They go, oh, but I get messages from people. There's weirdos in real life. You don't walk around in a black painted bubble where no one could see you.
Bag.
Yeah, a bag over you. You operate in the world we live in, and if anybody gets weird, you block them. It's not that difficult, but you don't pay the price of not allowing everybody else to see you so you can stop the few. You know, and for some people, it's the ego. They want to say, well, people contact me, so I have a private, hey, you're not that important. If you're on social, it's to be in front of people. It's to engage with people. If you're doing it for business, okay? That's that whole e-com thing. It's to engage with them. It's to be visible to them. You don't be visible by saying, hey, here I am, and then turn off the lights and hide under the table. Not how it works, guys. So we don't want private accounts. We want public accounts, okay? We have to put up consistent content, which in today's world is so easy. My God, with green screens, I can go right now, go to a host of different sites. For right now, just for fun, I'll go to Housing Wire. I don't know. I haven't done this. I'm doing this live in front of everybody, okay? And, of course, I've got terrible reception. Existing home sales drop, even as prices hit an all-time high. There's an article I could do. There's a rebrand. Congress should adapt the mortgage interest tax credit. HUD joins this. This one, house flipping profits increased for the third time. And there's so many things I could do articles on right here. Literally, all I would do is go to those articles, screenshot, and then I'd go and do a green screen on Reels. And if you don't know how to do that, jump onto YouTube and say, how do I do a green screen? That's where you're talking with the article behind you and you're talking about the article. The pressure to come up with content is gone now, guys. Literally, you can just talk about what's happening, give your opinion. And the platforms the algorithm love those green screens. You could do that all day, every day. You could do it every single day if you wanted. I did the one on Justin Timberlake yesterday, sitting on my dock. I'm like, people want to talk about that. Now, it's not my highest performing, but it's, let's see where it's at. It's at 32,000 views on one platform alone. I'll take it. It's, yeah, like 32,000 people thought of me between yesterday and today. Like, bigger than a stadium or arena thought of me because I just grabbed a little green screen on what was happening there and threw it up there. Like, guys, it's easier than ever. There's no excuse. And, like, the fact that you think about it and you're like, oh, that scares me, or I don't want it, that's the moment that you should be saying to yourself, hey, that's how everybody else feels too. This is when I get ahead. This is when when it comes to social, you have to learn to post with absolutely no expectation of result. I know that we have grown up in a world where we want instant gratification. But a lot of you are out there, you're putting out posts that you think are winners, and then you're waiting 10 minutes to see how many likes it gets. And if you don't like how many likes it got, you're taking it down. You're missing the point. Okay? You need to learn to post with absolutely no expectation of result, because even if that video didn't take off on the spot, it becomes a part of your library. And now when you have consumers looking for you and saying who's knowledgeable and what's going on, and these things are showing up now in searches and everything else, you have a representation. You have a video that's a part of your library that builds out the whole story of your content and educates the right person. Maybe it didn't do as much as the last video, but if it didn't do 0, it did more than taking it down. And that's how we ultimately have to think about it, okay? We have to learn to post without expectation of result. We've got to stop overthinking things. Jared, what time of the day should I post? How about just don't do it never? Okay? I'd rather you post at 3 o'clock in the morning than to not do it ever. Don't worry about it. Look, there's analytics on your professional account. You can see when your people are most active, and but guys, we can overthink all of this stuff. We really can. When I went and put that thing up about Justin Timberlake, I did not go and check, well, what time of day is it? Who's most active? I put them up in the morning. I put them up in the afternoon. I put them up in the evening. The only consistent fiber is that I keep putting them up. Stop overthinking it, guys. Like really, it's not worth it. Okay, and so we have to understand just how powerful this is. That like when you get 300 views, yeah, maybe it's not 30-something thousand like my whatever. It's 300 people who picked you over Netflix. That's 300 people who wanted to hear about real estate. And these algorithms are so targeted that the more you post, the more they learn about your targeting, the more they learn about your audience. So the more you post, they start to realize, oh, they like this person. They like potential buyers and sellers. And now all of those views are so targeted. They're not just out to the general public. They're delivering them to specific people who want what it is that you have to offer. And the more of those people that start to follow you, I'm not going to get into the whole secret sauce of how you gain those. We're going to do that at the Social Mastermind. But the more followers you gain, they say, well, why do followers matter? It's ego, I ran into someone the other day, and they saw my Instagram account had just crossed like 125,000. I think it's like at 128,000 now or something. And they were like, oh, that's got to feel great. And I'm like, it has nothing to do with it. Literally, the more followers I get, what that allows me to do is it allows me to retarget. It's like literally, like if I have something to promote, like a social mastermind, I can go into my meta ads and I can target anybody who has engaged with my Instagram account in the last 12 months. Now I'm reaching them further down the funnel. Like, so the more people that follow me, the more people that engage with my account, the more people that do that, when I have this massive amount of people I want to send out to, I'm not just sending out to the masses. I'm sending out to people with context, people who like me, people who visit my, like, how much easier is the sale on that? And that's the part that so many of you locally don't realize, is that my audience is the world. Like, your audience is local market. Like, it's so much more difficult for me than it is for you. Like, when I go look, I'm just doing this live with you guys right now. Now, this has gone down, but in the last 30 days, my account, my dashboard has been reached by 1.3 million people. It's right there. I'm not lying. 1.3 million people. Okay. Now, that sounds fantastic, but that's also such a larger audience that I now have to give content to, that I've got to try to reach, that I've got to. When you're in a local area and that number for you is 1,300, do you know how cheap it is to reach them and stay in front of them and get them to raise their hand when they're ready? Like, it is such a chess game. It is so easy to dominate. And most of you just don't even know what you're doing. That's why I say, if I came into your area, I would dominate you, because I know how to do that quick. I know how to make it so my business just takes off immediately, because I understand how to get in front of them. I understand how to retarget them. I understand what kind of content to deliver to them. I understand, like, it's not that, I mean, I say it's not that difficult, but everybody has different skills. That's one of my skills. I understand that. Like, I see it clear as day. You know, it's like some people look at math and it's just, I'm all of a sudden not smart. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And then some people look at math and it's like a beautiful mind. They're just like, bro, it just makes sense, you know? Some people look at writing a story and they're like, this just flows. Other people look at writing a story and they're like, I am not bright. Like, just makes them feel, you know? Like, in this area, when I say, hey, it's really just not that difficult, understand, I'm not dumb here. I understand. For me, I look at it and it comes off, I get it, you know? But I know how to pass that on. Any one of us can do it. You know, it is as easy as 1, 2, 3 as far as what the steps are in those things. And so we've got to get serious about this, guys. When we say that people remember up to 3 people, if you're not one of those 3 people, you're in danger. But if you are one of those 3 people, for everyone, man, that's powerful. What does that do for your business? When it's like, whenever someone's going to list their house, we're going to talk to a few people. Well, you have to call Jared. He seems to sell all the homes in the area. Like, that is just powerful, okay? And so I'll leave you with that, guys. Like I said, we're if you're listening to this and you know that that's a blind spot for you, that you know you should be doing better, guys, this is maybe the most important part of your business. You don't get to sales without getting the opportunities. You know, this is modern day marketing, okay? I want to tell you, get in before it's gone, guys. August 17th and 18th, jaredjamestoday.com/social mastermind. This is going to be the thing that changes the direction of your business and the network you're going to get just from being in there. So I would highly recommend you guys, make sure you get into that. It's going to be, I hate when people say it's going to be a game changer. It's going to be a life changer, because it's going to give you the ability to turn it on and turn it off when it comes to your business from the perspective of opportunity. And it really is that simple once you understand it. And a lot of you know, you're listening to me, you realize how much you don't know. So you realize how much there is to learn. And that's why I don't want to teach this in a 45-minute breakout session. That's why we're doing 2 full days, because it's immersion, and it's having that phone open and making sure we actually understand. And it's shooting video on the spot and going through it and going, how do we change that? What do we do? And really leaving there with the conviction of, I get this now. Like, I feel so empowered to be the option in my area. That's what we're going to do. August 17th and 18th, jaredjamestoday.com/social mastermind. It's $49.97, which is a freaking steal, okay? So get in that room, guys. I can't say it enough. With that being said, that's a lot we've covered today. Tom, is there anything we're missing?
Gosh, I don't know. But I mean,
that was a little social class on.
Yeah, a little social thing. I mean, what other excuse do you need to go to Vegas, though? There we go.
Hey, who goes to Vegas and makes money?
That's right.
That's what's going to happen to these people.
That's exactly what you need to do.
Come on, get to be in a suite. You might be there.
I might be there.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I might actually bring Tom, just because I want to be doing some videos on the spot and have. I also, that's another thing. I want to talk to the group about podcasting. and the opportunity for agents and business owners as far as don't worry about views, but where are the opportunities in podcasting as far as what is it doing from a content creation? What is it doing? Like, we get so many clips. That's why I do this podcast. We get, it's not for more views. It's not for, first off, I like talking about different things. We'll talk about the Justin Timberlake thing. You'll see a little bit more of like the things that go through my head. But it creates clips for us. Many times, guys, we'll stop the podcast and I'll be like, I actually want to talk about these 4 things. Let's shoot clips as if I'm on the podcast.
Yep.
And we do that. And they have millions of views. They weren't even from the podcast.
Yeah.
I know some of you right now are like, just like the mind blown, like, what? Yeah. Like, there's so much that I want to teach you guys, like literally. And so I might have Tom there because I want to talk the podcasting game too. What does that look like? Like, how do you use it? How do you leverage it? What is it for? It's not just for views. Like, so we'll talk about that as well. We've got 2 full days. Why not? So with that being said, Tomas.
Yes.
Thank you as always.
Of course.
To everybody listening, guys, make sure you give us a 5-star. Make sure you give us a written review. We appreciate that. Share this with someone else, guys. What keeps me doing it is that you're sharing it, and we're it's making that worth it for it. So we love you guys. And until next time, and hopefully, like I said, we'll see you in Vegas, August 17th and 18th. For the rest of you that won't be in Vegas, we'll see you at the Advance in Orlando, September 19th and 20th, 2-day conference. Let's go.
Let's do it.
All right, everybody. Have a good one.
See ya.